everyone. In today's Talk Out Cloud, we will speak about a subject that really matters to your project. Most of the time, it is neglected, or rephrasing myself for better understanding, not giving the right attention. But to tell you the truth, 99% of the projects would not work without DevOps. And today, we will speak about it and its maturity level. I will conduct this chat with our special guest, Emiliano Fracchia, who is a DevOps Cloud Executive at Cloudgaia. Welcome, Emi.
Hi, Thiago, and everyone watching. Thanks for the invite. We will have a really nice chat about DevOps maturity levels.
And before we start, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and activate the bell to receive alerts about our new videos. Emi, let's then start. People think DevOps is only for deploying things. What in fact is DevOps?
Well, Thiago, this is a really good question. As you said, not everyone has a really good definition of what DevOps is in their head. And we will see DevOps engineers, we will see that it's related just with deployments. Within the different definitions, there's one I like the most. It says specifically, and let me read because there's an author about after this definition. DevOps is a set of practices intended to reduce the time between committing a change to a system and the change being placed into normal production while ensuring high quality. Okay, and this definition covers different practices. In the first part, it says about deploying things or moving things to production in a quickly way, like faster. Let's say we try to do it fast, and that covers generally release management tasks or release management practices and the deployment that you mentioned. But it also covers it also says ensuring high quality standards. And high quality standards, we are talking more about quality assurance practice, QA management. So after this definition, generally it covers all the culture, the processes, the people, the tools involved in the DevOps world.
Yeah, much more than simple move things from one environment to another, no? But saying that, what does DevOps maturity level mean?
Well, like everything in life, there are different mature stages, right? When we are kids, then we go to teenagers, we go to adults. Right now, we are getting adults, right? You and me, we start to have white hair somewhere in our head or in our, the thing is, these maturity levels show us the sophistication of tools and processes and the knowledge that our people in our teams have, right? To do the DevOps practices, to have the DevOps culture. And each maturity level will show you like, okay, if you use these tools, if you have this knowledge, if you follow these processes, if in your Salesforce maturity level as well, you are in this stage, your DevOps maturity level is a specific one. And that, of course, explains where you are, where you want to go. If you want to improve or evolve, you need to go to a different level. You need to increase or to go through the DevOps path that we will talk soon probably, that has different stages. The Salesforce, the DevOps path I like the most. It's a one that has 5 levels. Most maturity levels definitions have 5 stages, but with different naming conventions. In this one, we go through the naming from the baseline, which is the very first one, through crawl, walk, run, and the expert or optimized, as some people called. I like to call it DevOps CI/CD. So that's more or less the maturity level stages and what is the maturity level.
Great. So let's go one by one. What differentiates each of them? No, and let's start with the baseline. To whom is this level?
Well, the baseline level is basically to those organizations that start with Salesforce, right? They have a production org or they buy the licenses and they start with one org. and they use maybe the out-of-the-box solutions, and maybe they have in-house development, or they hire a partner, and they have 1 or 2 developers or consultants doing the basic configuration to start working with Salesforce. This is a very basic stage of maturity. Generally, the characteristics are that your production org is your source of truth, so everything is there. You do manual changes directly in production. You don't use a sandbox, or maybe you use it, but you don't run a lot of tests. You just configure things there, and you move them with chain sets. Definitely, you need to have some kind of knowledge of ALM, right? The life cycle management of the product. So you should be using user stories, at least, to have a detail of what your goals are in the changes you are requesting to your team. But that's the minimum you use in this level. Okay. The impact basically is that you have a slow deployments or releases to production. You release once every 6 months, maybe, or you do some manual changes in every 2 months. You generally have errors because you are doing changes directly in production or moving changes without testing. And it's very difficult to revert changes because they are done generally manually. Okay. So it's a lot of manual tasks in this level of maturity.
And to the second level, I guess it is the crawl. To whom is this level?
Correct. The second level is crawl. When we start crawling, what happens is because we want to evolve a bit more, right? Those organizations generally start thinking of a bit more of customization. They say, okay, I like Salesforce. I want to start doing some customizations to my business, to my daily task. So they hire a bigger team. They have more developers or consultants, and they add an architect, maybe. And now they will start having different tracks of development, right? Maybe they have 2 or 3 tracks of development in parallel, but they start having more people making changes. When you have this situation, you need to start crawling. That means in DevOps that at least you set up a Git repository. At the beginning, a lot of organizations use this Git repository as a backup of your production org. Well, it's not the best practice, but at least you are starting to use this repository. But the Git repository actually needs to become the source of truth. In the baseline, your source of truth used to be your organization org. Now it's your main branch in your repository where you have all your code. If any change is done, you will have traceability of every change, of those changes, who made them, when, what is the exact change. And these kind of tools, these Git repositories, like Bitbucket, GitHub, GitLab, etc. There are a lot around there in the market. They help you to track every change. And if you need to roll back, you will have a mechanism to do it, right? So those are basically the characteristics. And another big one in crawling is that you start having a knowledge about testing, about QA. You understand the need of having sandboxes to develop for different developers or consultants to make the changes. You have your repository, and then you understand that you need to have a UAT environment, for example, for testing, before moving things to production. So if you are in that stage, like starting your customization, it's fine to be in the crawl level, but have in mind that if that customization increases, you will need to jump to the next level.
This is much more the way we do projects, at least, we have in the basic, I guess this is the basic, but the baseline, it's too basic, for I guess just for small customers and small projects. But that one, it's much more, but I know we have others, so the third level, it is the walk, and to whom is this level?
Well, when you start walking, as I mentioned before walking, you crawl, and now you mention it. We see a lot of projects with the basic tools, with the with the basic processes, with some knowledge from the people. But then you need to start doing things in the right way. When you start walking, is basically the right way. Maybe not the optimized way, but it's the right way. You start using agile methodologies. You have sprints. You will see a project manager in the projects. You will see, maybe if it's not a project manager, maybe a scrum master who helps the team to follow some methodologies, sorry, like a Scrum, some Agiles. Remember that DevOps comes from the Agile world, okay? So we are talking the same language, we are in the same culture of ways of work. And basically, this is an ideal point for projects when they are starting. I would love every project to be walking, right? Because you will have your repository, you will have sprints, you will have a backlog of user stories, you will test those user stories, you will have a project manager helping in the organization of the team, devs, consultants, an architect, probably a release manager or a QA. Of course, we are talking about medium to big projects, right? But in small projects, maybe five team members will be doing everything. It doesn't matter the role itself. And that's also DevOps. DevOps is a culture of being able to do everything. But the organization, the practices, the best practices implemented here by walking, it's you will have your sandboxes, you will have an integration code environment, you will have a UAT, you will have user stories, an ALM system that will help you with your Agile methodology. And as I said before, all the events that you will have, like daily calls, retros, backlog for development, backlog for releases. And you will see in these kind of organizations regular releases, like monthly probably, okay? And with better quality, less errors, a good plan for rollback or hotfix. So this is a really good spot to be when you are in a Salesforce implementation and configuration project.
Much better, but and if you keep walking, you will reach the fourth level, no? And the fourth level is the run. So to whom is this level?
Well, as I said before, walking is great. It's funny because I'm a sport guy. I like marathons, triathlon. So I wouldn't walk. I would start running immediately, right? But not always is. If you try to run very quickly before walking, you may fall. So walking is great. That level it's a good one to stay for a while. But what happens if you invest in DevOps practices, if you invest in tools, in knowledge for your team, you want to start looking at your return of investment, right? I think that companies in this level, in maturity level, in the run one, in the number 4, they start seeing this return of investment, basically because at this level, automation take place for everything. The team is already organized in an agile way. They better understand the DevOps culture. They start following the process. The knowledge increased in your team members. They have the necessary skills. So the work is kind of organized, but in the work level, you do a lot of things manually. Here, we will have automation for testing, right? To check the code coverage, to run validation to an integration environment, to run regression tests, to do deployments. You will have, for example, in your repository, you can configure pipelines to deploy automatically, even though we always recommend, even in this stage, to have some human intervention to review, I don't know, a peer review in a pull request, a technical architect reviewing and approving pull requests. But the reviewing doesn't mean that that person needs later on to do the deployment. The deployment can be done as soon as you approve a change, right, in a lower environment. And this kind of automation helps to, first of all, to give the team some time to work specifically in their tasks and not doing a lot of manual tasks, but to think what they are doing, to be creative, right? to optimize their time. And also that gives the possibility to one of the known phrases of DevOps is like shift left, you shift left quality, you shift left deployments. I mean, all the processes are being done in the lower environments. So you detect, for example, errors or defects in the lower environments, and detecting them in the lower environments is cheaper than getting those errors in production and having to fix them later on with a hot fix or rollback in production, right? So all this automation enables these kind of practices, and the companies here definitely are in a very, very good shape. They are very mature, and they focus their energy in automating manual tasks, right? And they have regular deployments like weekly to monthly deployments. They have a different track of work like support, enhancements, new features, and they probably have a QA team or QA environment or a QA manager helping with all the quality of the products that are being delivered. So it's a really, really good spot to be. You will definitely notice the return of investment in all your DevOps tools and processes and skills. So if you are here, definitely it's a good spot to be.
Yeah, and people think invest on that. Maybe it's not the best, but it avoid, some production errors that can cost much more, and it's something to think a lot, and you need to, okay, start small, but think big, And the last one, it is the fifth level. It is CI/CD, to whom is this level?
Yeah, the CI/CD, as I said, I like to call it this way. In DevOps, we are not talking a lot about the definitions of DevOps today, but I really like one definition or one concept in the DevOps culture, which is continuous improvement. And the continuous improvement, of course, is not a DevOps unique definition. In a lot of processes or methodologies or frameworks, we hear these words, right? But continuous improvement is one of the huge concepts or pillar concepts of DevOps. And that's why I don't like to call this fifth level like expert or optimize, which is how you will find it in different papers or literature. And why? Because when you consider to be in the optimized or expert level, it's like you reach the top, right? And in continuous improvement, there shouldn't be any top, no any ceiling. You should continue improving your processes, your knowledge, your tools all the time. So at this level, I don't find a lot of companies really at this level in the market. There are a few of them, but how you identify them? Basically, because they have weekly deployments for sure. Okay, it doesn't mean that they release new features every week, but if they have a support track, for example, they have to fix defects or some small enhancements, they can do it weekly or even daily or even on demand. There is a hotfix to be fixed like today, and they have all orchestrated in a way that it can be done without rushing. Everything works smoothly because they have automation in place, they have continuous integration, they have continuous delivery, they have a very good QA process where all the testing is automated, they have regression tests automated, they have different validations that are being run as soon as you close a pull request, for example, or you merge your code with the next environment. And all the communication, this is something, sorry, I didn't mention it before, but for me, it's very critical. The communication channels, the way you use your tools to communicate with and collaborate within the team. This is a really big concept as well in DevOps culture. At this point of maturity, your team collaborates and communicates in a really efficient way. You have the right channels to communicate things. You have a channel to communicate or to ask for approval, and you have a channel to talk about deployments or about defects, and you don't mix everything. That's a very common mistake. Let's be communicative and let's open a channel to talk about everything what's going on in the project. Well, that's a huge mistake. At this level, you don't see that. You see very specific communication channels and very specific communications within the team. And as I was saying, here the team has time to be very creative and look for improvements. Okay, improvements in every daily task. Okay, the dev, for example, let's go to the basic, one of the most important team members, right? The developers who are creating new things, fixing or configuring our Salesforce environments, they have time to develop with the help of different tools, and then they can forget about, I don't know, merging their code because some processes are in place that they won't find a lot of merge conflicts. Everything will work smoothly, and they can focus even a whole and a complete sprint in improvements. You will see companies that maybe they have, I don't know, 4 sprints, or the 4th sprint will be just focused in improvements or technical debt, right? You don't see that every day. Generally, everyone in the previous level, in the running level, you see some companies in that maturity level trying to improve, but they really they do it in a rush. Like they're running basically. How do we fix this? How can we automate this? How can we improve this process? How do we increase our knowledge, right? And they do it in a rush, but they don't do it like in order, right? And here they have the time for that. Why? Because all the best practices are in place. This is a very mature team. They know the DevOps practices. They are very agile, and everything, and they have a lot of automation, and everything works really smoothly for them to have time for creativity, for seeing how to improve their work and to work in the best scenario they can. And of course, every day improving a bit more.
Great. And for someone who is seeing this video, no, is it easy for a person to self-identify at any of the maturity levels? And I don't know if it is or not, but if not, how can, for example, Cloudgaia assist with that?
It's not that easy because of what I said in the last answer. Generally, if you are in the daily task, it's different to stop, see, the whole forest, not the tree, and to define where you are, what are you doing. It's not easy. You need to be in a very high maturity level, right? To have that time for good, to take a good picture of where you are. Even though with this video, at least you understand the different characteristics of being in different levels. So you can watch this video or save it there and watch it again and try to understand with what we discussed, what are the keys in different levels, okay, to understand where you are or where you want to be. In Cloudgaia, we do have a lot of experience working with different companies and helping them to understand where they are and how to help them at least to set goals and a plan. If their goal is to stay where they are, that's good. It's never, part of the DevOps culture is to continuously improve. So I would never say you are okay where you are, but maybe in a period of time, it's okay not to mess up things, right? You need to go level by level. So in this DevOps path, you may need to stay in one level for a time and until everything is in place in order to jump to the next level. Or sometimes you need some investment there because you need new tools or you need to skill up the team knowledge. So with Cloudgaia, we can audit that, we can give you some insights, and we can help you to set up a plan to go through this path to go to the next level of maturity.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Amy. You are invited to come back whenever you want. You are, partner of the channel. So thank you again.
Thank you, Thiago. It's a pleasure to be here around. I've been doing some like interviewer, but not talking a lot about these things. So I'm happy to be back And just for the audience to know, there is an article I wrote a few weeks ago with all the details. And going back to your previous question, like for the audience, if you go to that article that Thiago will probably add in the links with the video, you will find all the characteristics and the steps that you can follow to go level by level. Okay, so feel free to go to that article, go through it, and with the article plus this video, you will definitely have some tools at least to understand where you are. And of course, reach out to us if you need any help. So thank you again for having me here.
Yeah, for sure. I will add here the article link as well as the LinkedIn of Amy and mine as well. So, and also don't forget to add Cloudgaia there as well. It is at Cloudgaia in all social media, and also LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. So add there and in all place. Thank you again, Amy, and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye bye.